Welcome to Framework. This is John, one of the hosts of Framework, and usually Al would be here. He's not here today because we're talking about horror movies, and he hasn't seen that many of them. Instead, I have, returning to the program, a guy who knows horror movies, basically, and one of our favorites, Brett Blake. Thank you for joining me.
I'm thrilled to be here. And obviously, this is one of my favorite subjects to talk about, so this should be fun.
And it's a good year to talk about it because 2026 it's kind of popping off for horror movies, man.
So far. I mean, hopefully it doesn't all go downhill from here. I know we've got Evil Dead coming up, but beyond that, who knows where the rest of the year is going to take us. But the first half of the year has been pretty phenomenal so far.
Unusually so. And I think it might honestly just be volume. Like, I can't remember them releasing this many horror movies.
There's been a lot.
And it's been a like every weekend almost. There's a new horror movie to go see. Maybe it's just the averages, but we've gotten more good ones as a result, perhaps.
I think so.
I mean, there might even be, just some excellent all-timer horror movies that have come out this year. I don't know. We'll talk about that. I think when you say that now, here in June of 2026, I think most people were going to immediately think of Obsession and Backrooms.
Right.
They're massive hits, big surprising hits, things that kind of came out of nowhere. Young people made them. Young YouTubers came out of thin air for most of America and delivered huge conceptual hits that people really seem to like and that are making tons of money hand over fist. I think Obsession is sort of the bigger of the two, but they're
yes.
both, they're both hitting 300 million box office worldwide on like 1 million budgets, 1 million or less. It's nuts. What do you think of these movies, Brett?
I think one of them is very good. I think one of them is okay. I'm not one of these people who was wowed by either of them and are like, these are going to be instant classics for the next, 30 years. We're going to look back and talk about these. Now, I've seen a lot of horror movies, so right. I am not your average viewer. So your average viewer, and particularly maybe your average viewer in their late teens, early 20s, watching these movies who, maybe have not seen all of the monkey's paw, be careful what you wish for type stories that have been out there in the case of Obsession. Maybe they were really surprised by that movie in a good way, and that's cool. That's great. I have nothing bad to say about either of these movies in terms of their success. I'm always really excited when horror does well, and I think in the case of Obsession, this is a particularly kind of unprecedented run that it's been on, where it had a decent opening weekend. Second weekend was bigger than the first weekend. Third weekend was bigger than the second weekend. Like, this just doesn't happen. And I think outside of the Christmas sort of release window, because that's always a little strange with, Christmas and the New Year's and people are off, you can't really look at that as indicative of anything in terms of box office, really. The only other movie that has increased, its second and third weekends that was a wide release was E.T. That's how far back you have to go for the kind of wild run that this movie has had. And it's impressive.
There's no doubt about that. I'm a little surprised, honestly, that this has become such a phenomenon simply because, I think this is really well made. I think this is
yes.
a very, very effective movie, especially in a theater with an audience. And I think it speaks to younger audiences, the target market for horror movies generally, in a way that a lot of movies don't. I think this has a hand on the pulse of like dating in your early 20s in a way that feels a little divorced from what I remember, because I'm old now. But even still, it's a totally entertaining, really upsetting, scary movie. It delivers on the fundamentals as well. It kind of does it in a way I'm a little familiar with. It actually reminds me of the Smile films. Just sort
a little
of like,
bit.
In the way it's
not just because there are a lot of facial expressions that are memeable.
That is true, though. That is part of it. And that's what those young people love. They love memes, you see, Brett.
Yes, yes. I've heard that.
So, but it is mean and kind of glossy and professional in a way that those movies are, and scary. It's legitimately scary, in a fun way.
I would say it's uncomfortable. Like, there was never a moment where I was like, ooh, I'm really scared, because I was not too invested in our main character. And I think that was kind of he's kind of hard to. There are things in the movie that are put in there to make us kind of empathize with him a little bit, but he's not a great guy. So it was difficult for me to be invested enough to be scared. However, there are many moments that are deeply uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
that is enough of a trade-off for me. Like, again, I've seen so many horror movies. It takes a lot, or it takes a particular confluence of elements to, really frighten me, so to speak. So I didn't get that from this movie, but I will take being made uncomfortable. And it made me uncomfortable quite a bit.
Certainly. It's sort of cringe horror, if you
Yeah.
will. Another thing the kids like. But it I think the use of this protagonist is really good. It's really intelligent because he is definitely the protagonist. He is the guy you are perspective on the whole movie.
He's driving the story completely.
And you get in his head in a big way. And yes, he sucks. He is a coward and he's annoying and he makes very selfish choices. I think by giving us the POV, he is sort of empathetic anyway. Like we're kind of on his side without actually being on his side, at least emotionally, Like
Yeah. And I think one of the touches that I think is actually smart is, suppose this is not a universe in the movie where the character expects his wish is going to come true. Like if
Right,
the one wish
right.
Willow conceit was like well known, and this was like a really alternate reality where this thing was out there and everyone knew it worked, and he made the wish, that would be a completely different kind of story. It would color it in a very different way. He's just making this wish because it's kind of a pathetic dream that he doesn't, he knows it's not going to come true, but he just says it. If it had been
Yes.
if it had been an intentional decision and he knew what it was going to do to this girl, he would be even less likable than he already is.
Very much so. I mean, it's you think when he doesn't quite figure out that the wish worked, that he thinks she had some sort of episode and he feels weird about it and doesn't know, and wants to talk to his friends about it, and you're just like, come on, man, you figured, like, what's happening, but he doesn't because he's not in a movie. Well, he is, but he doesn't know that he's in a movie.
Yeah.
And that lasts for a surprising long amount of time. I think until he finds out that she's been lying about her dad.
Yeah.
Like he's not even really questioning that. And so, yes, you can still be on his side at that point. It's just sort of the wormy way he goes about dealing with this problem that you eventually sort of like, man, come on, man, you really are just a coward. And that's fun.
And that leads into the phone call to customer service, which I think is the best scene in the movie, for me anyway, because it encapsulates him as a character and kind of what you're talking about. Like he just wants to amend the wish initially. He doesn't want to rescind it. He just wants to tweak it a little bit so that it's not quite as weird for him anymore. But then the way that scene turns from comedy into something really chilling, I think is one of the best directed moments of the entire movie.
It's terrific. It's really scary, actually. It's because there's
the implication of it, the implication of where her soul is, if you want to say, is very upsetting.
Yes, and I love that it's only an implication. Like, we don't really know what the cosmology of this is. Like, we don't know if this is a demon that he's dealing with, but we know it's not her. Exactly. We know, well, not at all her. And that becomes, well, I mean, honestly, that's the thing that the movie hangs on. And this bugs me in a little way, which is that it's not his wish at this point. We're not doing like strict rules of wishes here.
Yeah.
And initially I thought that, oh, well, that's the point. The One Wish Willow thing is explicitly a demon fucking with you situation. Like it is a proper Pet Sematary Monkey's Paw. And there's no way to win. But then, it seems like other people have figured out how to win. And the director afterwards has told the press and in interviews that, yes, there are ways to win. And it's just a weird a weird tweak of this specific wish. And then I'm kind of like, okay, well, the rules don't really work then. You didn't figure this out exactly.
But on the other hand, I would rather it be vague enough like that where, yes, we still have to kind of be asking, well, how literal do the wishes have to be stated in order for it? I'd rather we were able to discuss that than we go too far into over explanation.
That's true. That is absolutely true. I do think the movie kind of has to cheat to effectively be the horror movie it wants to be and succeeds at being. But it's a good point, an example of when it doesn't matter if they do it well. Like, I don't care if they achieve what they're after.
And I also think some of that's baked into the monkey's paw conceit. I mean, it's like we know the wish can't turn out well. I mean, you know, because then there's no story here. So,
yeah, this is a lot closer to like Pet Sematary than I thought it would be going in.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison point for sure. I did just want to circle back to, you know, briefly touch on its budget.
Yeah.
I think officially listed at like $750,000. If you told me this movie cost $10 million, I would absolutely have believed you. Like, this really is a quality looking production. And I guess that just speaks to Curry Barker's gifts as a filmmaker.
Well, yeah, YouTube filmmaking, guys, that might actually end up being like the real next big thing. Like, this is really kind of exciting to have a number of YouTubers put out successful, interesting horror movies this year. And Obsession is the king of them in many senses. You know, it's I saw a video recently saying this is the new music video. Is coming out of YouTube and learning your craft there, because they don't really have, you know, a music video to filmmaker pipeline like they did in the 90s anymore.
Right.
But now we have this, and some of the stuff coming out of this is really impressive. And just in its pure economy and the mechanics of filmmaking stuff. Like, yeah, this movie looks great. And it is evocative. It's well lit and shadowed and, you know, designed correctly. And yeah, all that stuff, you would never guess this cost as little as it did.
Reminds me a little bit of Halloween in that sense, which I always, to me, Halloween, I think, is still one of the best made, best looking movies of the 70s. And, you know, that had a budget way under $1 million, but it was made by people who understood craft and understood technique. And Curry Barker is clearly in that school as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a really strong comparison point. That is another movie that has behaved this way at the box office. Yeah. Well, how, all right, Curry Barker. Been compared to John Carpenter making Halloween now, so
time for the fog.
That's pretty good. He is going to make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film next, which, you know, hey.
I think that's a bad idea, but it's his life, like so.
I wouldn't necessarily do that if I were him at this moment. He probably signed on before Obsession became a
I believe he did,
phenomenon.
yes. Yeah. I think he got it off of people having seen it in festivals and stuff, so.
Well, there was no reason to believe it would do this, I suppose. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's room to make that work, and it's certainly a good paycheck. And, you know, honestly, like, I think just having him as the director probably guarantees something that's going to be in the upper half of that franchise's output easily, just without him shooting a frame.
Certainly in terms of how well it's going to be made, I think absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine how much money it's going to make, because he's going to be a name now from the guy who made you Obsession, you know, like,
yeah,
people will turn out for that now, I suspect. Certainly more than they would for a regular Texas Chainsaw, perhaps.
One other thing I think we do need to mention in terms of Obsession is Andy Navarrette's performance, which, you know, the Academy is getting more open to horror. You know, we had Amy Madigan win last year, but like this is a performance that better be in the Oscar conversation at the end of the year, because it's that good.
Well, I think it will be now, because this performed so well, because this is a cultural defining moment. This is more successful than any of the big movies, any of the big summer blockbusters that have been released so far this year. I guess Toy Story has been released. That's going to be more successful. But for the budget and versus the return, it's going to be the film of the summer. And it's huge. I think they have to give Andy Navarrete a nomination at this point.
It would be a conspicuous kind of snub if they didn't at this point.
Yeah. And well-deserved. I mean, I think it's the performance of the year by acclamation from everyone, as far as I can say.
If that role doesn't work, the movie is non-functional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Curry Barker actually directs her incredibly well. Just in the way she is used, a lot of her most effective moments are as much staging as anything.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's fine. That's part of it. And that scene when he wakes up and she's watching him sleep. I think that's the one everyone just sort of like jumps out of their skin a little bit at, and it is incredibly effective. And everyone wants to know how'd they do the moving thing? Is it just playing things in reverse? I love not knowing that though.
Yeah, I don't. Some of this stuff I don't want to know about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so that's Obsession, which obviously the biggest movie of the year horror wise. The second biggest, right at the same time, another YouTube filmmaker is Backrooms, and I don't know what you thought of this one. This one is a little more divisive. It's not having the incredibly long legs at the box office that.
Right.
The Obsession had, but it came out
opened bigger.
Huge. Yeah.
It opened like a blockbuster. I mean, it opened to 80 million.
That's nuts.
It
That's
is
so crazy. And I don't fully understand why. I mean, I think, again, it's them young people. This is a big concept. It's been around, and everyone on YouTube, or not on YouTube, whatever young people use now, God damn it, is knows what this is.
You're how old, John? No.
Yeah, old. And so I don't know. I don't know when the original short. I'm looking it up right now.
I think 4 or 5 years ago. 4 years ago.
It couldn't have been that long because the guy who made this movie is 20 years old.
I think he was 16 when the first video came out. I think.
Insane.
Yeah, and I appreciate this movie more than I liked it. To me, this really felt like I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, well, yeah, this really was, had its start as a YouTube video, didn't it? Because it felt very stretched out. It felt to me like once you sort of get your handle on what the whole vibe of the Backrooms area is, there's not a whole lot more there to discover. I didn't feel like it escalated in a way that I found satisfying. Like, it technically does escalate because we learn more about, Chiwetel Ejiofor's kind of psychology, which is sort of powering what is going on in the Backrooms. The Backrooms kind of like reaches into your mind and plucks out kind of like darker and more unpleasant things that are in there and sort of blows them up and exaggerates them. And so some of that stuff is interesting. Like the final boss of the movie is like a cool concept, I think. But
it's not very scary.
It's goofy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little too goofy for me. And it was a situation where it's like, I appreciate that this movie's doing well. I like the performances. I think they're a little overqualified for the material. Like, I'm shocked that Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this.
And Renata Rensby from
fresh off an Oscar nomination. I mean, both of these are Oscar-nominated performers. I think they're, hey, but good for them. I mean, I'm happy when performers like that come into the genre because it, sort of gives permission for other performers who maybe have looked down at the genre to maybe say, hey, maybe I can do something here. So that's cool. That's great. I just felt like anything that this movie gave me, I could probably have gotten watching 2 or 3 of the Backrooms YouTube videos.
I hear you on that. I love this one. I think Backrooms is terrific. It's not my favorite horror film of the year, but it's up there. And I think it's doing some really, really exciting stuff. My favorite thing about it is that it's not as overtly threatening as it could be. There is not a deep lore presented here. I mean, there is some stuff. There's
an implication of something. Yeah.
Yes, but the just sort of uncanny nature of the Backrooms is allowed to just sort of sit with you a little. Like, it's not overtly threatening in any specific way. I mean, they have to create the pirate monster at the end, but for the most part, like, it just sort of is, and inexplicably just there, and the rules of it aren't concrete, and it's just sort of a thing that I guess they give you as much of an answer as you need. It is sort of a collective memory of this place that just keeps generating, and just, like, that's what the pirate monster is at the end. It's just people's reaction to that commercial, just sort of collectively piling up in sort of a subspace outside of reality. And there is a lot of there are reads of this that it is about AI. For me, I was thinking of data centers while it was on. It's just like just all this sort of excess information that just exists in the world now and in cyberspace or electronically, however, and it's just sort of there. And it's endless and cavernous, and you can get lost in it, sort of. That's what it feels like to me. I feel a lot of The Shining in this, like to the extent where I think the director just watched The Shining a lot. It has a similar sonic soundscape to it. I love the sound mix on this movie. The Chiwetel Ejiofor performance is very much in that tradition. Well, he's not doing full-on wacky Jack Nicholson, but the character is clearly inspired by that.
Jack Torrance-esque by the end, yeah.
And I like that it never feels like it has to sort of comply to horror movie traditions or standards. It is very much doing its own thing throughout. And it also is a movie I feel there is endless potential to make a franchise out of this. I would love to go see 8 Backrooms movies, personally. Because you can just be as weird as the hell as you want with these. Do any bizarre thing. Break the universe 5 times over. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm probably good with one more, and then we'll see. I felt like where this one ended seemed to me implying that if they do a sequel, it's going to get into danger territory of trying to literalize and explain this stuff, and I think that would be absolutely deadly if they did that. I thought the ending of this was like, I'm talking like the last few minutes.
Yeah.
Once Pirate Monster is out of the picture, I found that a very bizarre and strange way to conclude this movie. That feels like a cliffhanger, but the resolution of that cliffhanger couldn't possibly be very good. So that doesn't seem like that would be the intent, but that's what it feels like. It was just a very strange way to end the movie, I thought.
It's elliptical. I like the last shot very much.
The last shot is good, but I think that raises more questions about, well, then what would the next movie be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's an unpleasantness to just sort of seeing a facsimile version of characters.
Yes.
And even though, like, contextually, we're kind of like, okay, it's not really like them exactly, you know? It's not like a trapped consciousness or anything, like, too upsetting like that. It just sort of exists. It's just sort of there. And I think that's neat, because it's not explicitly like, ooh, chilling. It's just sort of like, well, no, it just exists there. It's just a thing. How do you feel about that? And I like that the movie is kind of ambivalent about that. It's those weird and the thing that he's like eating them, and it's this weird cotton candy. It's just bizarre shit that does not exactly get an explanation. It just is. And I don't know. I'm saying the same thing over and over at this point, but yeah, it worked for me in a big way, and I think that since I don't think the Backrooms themselves, I'm not committed to them so much that I don't mind them ruining it. I think they can kind of take this and run with it and see what they find. I'm interested in that, and not
so
unlike
if they fumble if they fumble the ball in the next movie, you're not invested enough for it to bother you, is what you're saying.
Yes, which I suppose you could say that's a bad thing, but I think it's an interesting thing. It's a neat place to be at. They can do whatever they want now. They have kind of license to go really bizarre. And I suspect they'll become a more conventional thing, you know? The way the Saw movies kind of ultimately defined what they were and just hit repeat over and over. But, you know, like the first Saw movie is not the best Saw movie. There's potential.
I think it is. We don't want to get into a Saw debate. No. I think it's absolutely the best one, but okay.
Fair enough. That might be an interesting thing to talk about sometime, but not now, because there is not a Saw movie in 2026. There are, however, many, many other things. I mean, Backrooms and Obsession are getting a lot of the attention right now, but for me, that's just drawing attention to how strong the year has been and how many other things have come out just in the first 6 months that have been exceptional. I have a favorite. I think it's my favorite movie of the year. I don't know if it is yours, but I'm curious. And that is 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple.
I like it. Not my favorite of the year, but I like it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome. It's my favorite of the 28X Later films.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which has never really been my franchise. But this one, I think, is the coolest one. I think it is in the tradition of George Romero. The Ralph Fiennes performance is one of his best.
Excellent.
It is an excellent horror movie character. Like, it's just conceptually, everything about this guy is so interesting and exciting, and so not what you expect from a zombie film. And he nails it. He is so committed to it, including the ending, which is the best ending of a movie this year.
It's really good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the last 10, 15 minutes are pretty special.
I was just so excited when that happened. I couldn't believe that this is where the movie had landed and how hard it was nailing that moment. It's just a hell of a looking film. I mean, all credit to the previous movie, the first 28 years later.
Which is my favorite. Yeah. That's my favorite of the series so far.
Understandable. It's also great. And you need it to get the full value of Bone Temple, I would say.
Yes.
And it gets credit, as I was saying, for creating the Bone Temple, which is just a wonderful physical set to work on. One of the best
and just
in recent
the whole
memory.
concept behind it and why this doctor character has built it. Because initially, and what I like about the first 28 years later, they sort of build up Ralph Fiennes' character potentially as a quite sinister threat.
Yeah.
Because he's talked about, people have glimpsed him, and what they've seen him doing, they assume is because he's insane and like a very frightening person. But then when you
he made a bone temple.
Yeah. He's collecting bodies. I mean, he's doing all kinds of weird shit that is scary to people. But then when you meet him and you get to know who he is, and we get obviously much more of that in the movie The Bone Temple. It's such a nice subversion of that expectation when you realize that, this is, obviously anyone who's still alive has gone a little bit nuts, but this is still fundamentally a good person. And I think that's a really nice element to have in these movies that are otherwise quite dark.
Yes, it is incredible tonal coup d'etat, essentially. A coup? No, it's just a coup when it's not a political assassination.
No one was overthrown,
it's a coup
but
d'etat.
yeah.
Okay. It's a coup. And it's getting an actor of Ralph Fiennes' caliber to perform this role is essential. And I guess it makes sense after you see the movie why he would take it, because it really is that good of a role. But yeah, like the fact that even from the trailers, you can he looks threatening and scary. He's covered in iodine. He's weird. And no, he's the biggest humanist in the series, as it turns out. And I think that the second film's sort of plus up of that is he finds a cure for zombieism.
Yeah.
He finds a cure for the rage virus. And the movie explores that and gets into it and starts dealing with it. Like, there's no coming back for Samson per se, but maybe there's something like that. Maybe there's a way to abate his rage. And who knows what the next step there is. And that seems to be where the third movie can take us, which I guess is happening, even though this was a big bomb.
I'm going to be surprised if it actually happens. I hope it does, though, because I think I would like to see what today's Cillian Murphy, what that character would look like now in this world with this template that has been laid by these previous two movies. I think that would be fun. I appreciate that. Ultimately, I think The Bone Temple is a more hopeful story, or it concludes and it offers the possibility of hope in a greater way than you would traditionally expect from a zombie movie, particularly even like the Romero movies, which are pretty bleak. Right. Although I would argue, not to go off on a Day of the Dead tangent here, I think that movie also offers some notes of hope. But for the most part, when you think of a zombie apocalypse, there's generally not much positivity at the end of these stories. And I think The Bone Temple opens the door up for, it's not going to happen immediately, but maybe in 10, 15, 20 years, there could be a handle on this thing.
It's also, we say that is absolutely correct. It's also like one of the grisliest films in a while, probably of the franchise, I think.
And mostly because of what humans do to other humans.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Which is also a Romero concept.
Yeah. The Jimmy's gang is really, really, they're fucked up, man. A scary, nasty presence. And then the movie also has the temerity to extend humanity to them even the lead Jimmy, Jack O'Connell,
Yeah.
he's kind of like, ultimately you see like, oh no, he's a small child who spent most of his life alone in a zombie apocalypse. Of course he got fucked up and weird.
Yeah,
of course he's a bizarro, Satan worshipping, Jimmy Savile worshipping crazy person at this point.
I love the scene that he has with Ray Fiennes.
So good.
Because Ray Fiennes obviously knows this guy is a very dangerous person.
Mm-hmm.
But he still talks to him like a human being. He still relates to him. He has empathy for him.
Yeah.
Which is really kind of remarkable.
Yeah. Man, terrific film. I'm so into this one. Yeah, I'm very excited to keep watching this one in the years to come, I feel. And yeah, it's a very unsuccessful movie. It's the fourth in a franchise, kind of an offbeat one. You know, it is called 28 years later, the Bone Temple. You know, it's just not the sort of thing that ends up being a great film generally.
And I'm a little surprised that it didn't perform at least a little better. I mean, 28 years later, the year before, did pretty well. I thought it was pretty well received. Now, maybe it actually wasn't, and it kind of semi-poisoned the well for the next movie. But I thought that movie was great. So I was surprised that the Bone Temple kind of dramatically underperformed.
I think people weren't as into it, like general audiences. I think that these films are kind of for the horror nerds, people like us, people that really like to bathe in these sort of films and watch a lot of them. And I think for us, this is perfect. But this is not a movie for the multiplex audiences per se, or at least 28 years later wasn't. And this kind of follows in that's lead. So I guess I would be surprised if this was really successful. But yeah, the extent to which it bombed is surprising. And maybe people are just like done with zombies. There's been a lot of goddamn zombies.
Maybe. And maybe a poor release date. I know people love to shove horror into January, but maybe it was just not the right moment for this kind of movie. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and there were two other big horror movies in January, actually. And they were both kind of good.
They were, yes.
Yeah. Was one of those your favorite horror film of the year so far?
One of them is, yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that is Sam Raimi's Send Help.
So good, man. So cool. What a movie. It's really, really great.
I just want to take a moment to say how thankful I am that we still have Sam Raimi around making movies like this.
No kidding, man. He seemed lost to us for like a decade. It really felt like it was over.
Yeah, Oz the Great and Powerful was, although I don't hate that movie, but it's like, oof, what are you doing here, Sam?
Mm-hmm. I assume he has a great affection for the first Wizard of Oz or something like that.
Well, yeah.
I don't know, man. But regardless, he's back now. And if it took a multiverse of madness to get him back, that's fine.
Which I liked. I'm a defender of that movie, but yeah.
It's all right. For being a Sam Raimi Doctor Strange movie, I find it a bit disappointing. But that said, it's if it got him back and got him re-engaged, then maybe it's my favorite MCU film. because
it delivered us eventually Send Help, yeah.
Which is also one of the great horror films of the year. A terrific time, and what a Rachel McAdams performance. Actress I've always liked. This is like her best showcase ever, at least for the kind of movies I enjoy.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is the best I've ever seen her in anything.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful work. And man, this is such an interesting character. Like,
yeah.
It took me a while to sit with this. At first, I was like, I kind of reject what this movie's doing. I'm kind of opposed to this. But no, ultimately, that's what makes it kind of interesting and special.
I mean, I think, to me, it's sort of like, what if Annie Wilkes from Misery became Paul Sheldon from Misery? Like, what if Annie's arc is becoming the thing that she idolized, or the thing that was the sort of the object of her fixation? I think this is one of those movies where there's a surface level, more simplistic read where it's like, girl power, girl boss, that kind of stuff. But to me, the ending of the movie is much more sinister and subversive than that, which is,
she's fucking nuts, man.
She is
absolutely fucking nuts.
And she has power, and she's like on top of the world. And to me, it's like, eventually she's going to run into her own version of Linda. She's going to eventually do to somebody what Bradley was doing to her.
Oh yeah. I mean, the success at the end is she she becomes what she hates most, or what she's been against the whole time. She
Right.
successfully buys in to the system.
And I don't think it's going to end well for her or anyone else around her if we were to see a subsequent movie, which I don't want to see, because I think just leave it alone. But yeah, I was very impressed, not just with the ending, but with the entire movie.
It is very much a role it is very much a rug pull at the end too, or the last third, when you realize the extent of her madness and her depravity and the shit she's been up to this whole film. You know there's something. You don't know quite how far it's going to go. But the fact that the movie starts with a half hour of you just completely on her side.
Yeah.
Just absolutely get invested in her. You hate the other guys. The guys suck.
Yeah.
They do suck. They're not good.
No.
You don't end up liking them more, really.
And several of them are dispatched in very classic Sam Raimi kind of Evil Dead style ways in that plane crash, which is a great sequence.
The blonde guy getting choked by the seatbelt as he flies out of the plane is one of the best kills in Sam Raimi, I think. It's so good.
Great.
With the gag she pulls the window thing down. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Love that stuff. I also love the boar hunt, even though it's very CGI heavy. It's so gross and so extreme.
I mean, it's basically a deadite boar. I mean, it's basically like an Evil Dead monster.
Mm-hmm. So much fun. And yeah, Dylan O'Brien, also great. This is an exceptional film.
He hits the exact right note. And what I love is even at the end, there's sort of this, I mean, it's not subtext. I mean, it's pretty literal on the text, but like the sexual or romantic kind of tension between these characters that is kind of there throughout the entire movie. Even at the very end, after they've been brutalizing each other in their fight and stuff, like they're still kind of dancing around this thing. And I thought that stuff was great.
Yeah, they play that incredibly well.
Yeah.
It's never really one way or the other. I mean, well, you get the sense she's kind of got a thing for him, but she doesn't act on it in the ways that you expect. And he doesn't use that in the ways you expect. It's good stuff. It is a weird sort of fucked up chess match that they are having the whole movie. And you're not sure which way it's going to go at any point. Yep. I mean, I'm always kind of on her side in film.
I mean, she is a murderer. She does deliberately cause the deaths of people. But I think that's what makes the movie cool, is like you can have a discussion of which one of these two not great people are you more on the side of, and at what points, because it may shift during back and forth a bit during the movie, which I think is fun too.
Yeah, really good. Really good. So those are four notable horror films right there. Those four movies alone in a year makes it a good horror movie year, honestly, I would say. That's doing real well. The crazy part is Bone Temple and Send Help were January releases. And yes, January horror is a thing. Usually not like good January horror, though. And they weren't the only ones that came out in January.
There was another one.
Yes.
Primate.
The same one? Yeah, we have the same one. Primate. Now, this is not a great movie like the other two.
No.
But it's really good.
For what it is, like, this is one of those movies that, I use this phrase a lot, where it knows what it is, and it does that thing pretty well. This is not reinventing. This is not reinventing any wheels. This is not delivering anything we haven't really seen before, but it's taking some familiar ingredients. It's putting them in I thought, a really kind of interesting, cool setting with sort of like this cliffside house with the multi-level exterior pool area and stuff. I like that they had Troy Kotsur in here as the father who's deaf, and the movie actually like allowed scenes to play out as they would in the real world with a deaf character. Like, it's not, the movie doesn't go out of its way to underline this or make any statements about it. It's an extra little bonus of personality and character in a movie that didn't really need to go there, but it did anyway, and it adds extra value to the movie, and I think that's great.
Absolutely. That is such a cool choice to cast him in this. And he this is the guy he won the Oscar for Coda a few years back. This is him just cashing in and making a paycheck with a Killer Chimp movie. It makes the movie so much better, though, that he's there.
Yeah.
You know, not just because he's a really good actor, though, but because they have to tailor the entire kind of concept of the house and the monkey to, you know, to him specifically
Yes.
as a deaf actor. And it makes it so specific and interesting, and you can build set pieces around it. It's wonderful, wonderful choice.
Yes. And the chimpanzee character being 99% a character in a suit, or
great.
a combination of suit and animatronics, whatever. Totally the way to go, because I still don't think anytime I see a digital ape or monkey outside of the Planet of the Apes movies, I am immediately taken out because it never looks good enough to me. Like, it never looks like it's really there. Like, I just watched Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic.
Sure.
And obviously he had a chimpanzee. Well, it doesn't look very good. I mean, it looks like a digital chimp in the movie. So the fact that they went with an actual physical being. Now, yes, because it's a person in a suit, is it a little bit oversized and are the proportions not quite probably what they should be? Yes, but I would much rather have that than something digital. It gives it such a tactile quality when, you know, the chimp is brutalizing people, beating on people, biting on people. It really
gnarly
it feels,
movie, by the way.
Yeah, it feels threatening. Like, it feels like this thing has power and can really do a lot of damage to people.
Yeah, there's some gross shit in this. This actually reminded me of like French Extremity stuff, like just in the way it was made. It's not as gruesome as that, but it's closer than you might imagine. And,
I mean, there's some face peeling. There's there's some stuff for sure.
It has basically the structure of Cujo, just sort of blown out with a larger cast and a larger environment to play with. This is just like sort of a fundamentally effective killer animal movie. Like in a way that we haven't had in a while. And, you know, I guess usually it's just shark, but I think when you vary them and you do like kind of interesting animals, there's potential, usually unreached. But in this one, reached. This one's really fun.
I think using a primate species allows there to be a suggestion of more character depth for the actual animal, because I think they're the closest to us that there is. So we naturally, as an audience, want to read a little bit more sort of anthropomorphized elements into them. And that then makes them more effective as a horror villain, I think.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So yeah, primate, successful, good times. There's so much other good stuff going on that kind of fell through the cracks, I fear. But, you know, I think, anyone who's a horror fan, I think, primate, good one. Check it out. There were some other January releases I see. I didn't catch these, I'm afraid. It's been a stacked year, so I didn't make it to We Bury the Dead, Daisy Ridley zombie film. I heard it was sad. Was my
I heard it was a bummer, so I'm like, I can catch up with that in a few years.
Yeah, I'll get to it. And then Return to Silent Hill, which is supposed to be terrible. But it's from the director of the original Silent Hill, which I like. So I will probably
that makes all the difference.
Christopher Gans, speaking of extremity horror from France. He's he's good. And it's apparently an adaptation of the second game, which is everyone's favorite Silent Hill game. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's probably bad, but it exists. So that's just January. I don't know. I guess we could just go through the months here. I got my little list. February had Iron Lung, which is, did you see that one?
I did not.
Okay. It is another YouTuber. And this one was a little more explicitly like, this is from the YouTube filmmaker Markiplier, and you should be excited for that. And that worked for them. It's a very interesting cosmic horror premise. I wasn't crazy about the movie, but do you know what it is?
Isn't it like a guy in a submarine or something? That's kind of all I was aware of.
It's a heavy sci-fi premise. Yes, it is one dude in a submarine, like a rickety old dying submarine. He's a prisoner who is being offered his freedom to complete a scientific mission on a different planet. And the planet is an ocean of blood, we're told. And they're investigating this blood ocean in these creepy little, one-man submersibles, and there's monsters outside in the blood, and he's running into them, and it's cosmic horror. It's worth a look. It's way too long, but it's impressive for the budget they had, and just conceptually, it's an interesting thing. So I don't necessarily. I mean, look, we're going to say a lot of movies. That's not one of the first ones I'd recommend this year, but It's an interesting experiment. Let's see here. Dracula, the Luc Besson Dracula came out. Didn't catch that one.
Luc Besson's Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, that's what I've heard it to be. Christoph Waltz is the Van Helsing figure. That makes sense. Interesting.
That's great casting.
Yeah. Caleb Landry Jones as Dracula. That I'm like, huh? Yeah, I don't think so. That is the son from Get Out. For the White family. He's the crazy redneck son. He's playing Dracula in this. Yeah, we don't have an opinion on that movie. Okay. Let's see. Whistle came out. Did you saw this one? Okay.
I did.
It sounded like it had an interesting premise to me. I didn't.
It kind of does. The idea is like you are visited by visions of how you will ultimately die, and then it happens to you.
Yeah. Okay.
And it happens to you like in rapid succession, like immediately. Like if you were in a car crash, your body gets immediately mangled.
That sounds great. That sounds cool. I want to see this.
Those moments are cool. Everything else in the movie is like 1 degree above like a Wish Upon or a Bye Bye Man or a Slender Man. Very familiar high school teen tropes and dialogue that if they weren't written by 50-year-olds sound like they were written by 50-year-olds. I don't know who the filmmakers were here, but the moments of like the gore and the deaths were not enough for me to be able to recommend the movie as a whole.
All right. Kind of a standard dead teenager thing then.
Yeah. Okay. With admittedly a couple of cool moments in it.
I might watch it around Halloween. Maybe. All right. That sounds okay. There was other stuff. Cold Storage. I didn't see.
Boring.
Okay. Fair enough. Liam Neeson zombie movie. It's boring. Great.
It takes way too. It's not a long movie, but it takes way too long to get going.
That's unfortunate. That movie looked like it was riding on energy. Okay. Psycho Killer, which I did see. That's the worst movie I've seen this year.
It's tied with another one that also came out in February for my worst movie of the year. This thing, supposedly this script has been around Hollywood since 2007, and I can't fathom that that's possible. I don't know what anyone who would read this script would find the appeal that we have to keep trying to get this thing made for almost 20 years. Like, it's bizarre that there's just nothing here at all.
It is the most generic serial killer nonsense imaginable. It feels like something that would be like, you could release this as like part of the Collector franchise, but it would be like the worst one.
Yeah.
Like, like that's kind of how it is. A complete miss. It's weird because Andrew Kevin Walker wrote it, who wrote Seven and a bunch of other movies that are good. I don't know what happened, but there's no reason to consider this one, or we'll talk about it anymore.
No.
What was your worst of the year for February? Tied with that,
The Bride.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. I have not seen The Bride yet because the word was so toxic. It sounds like I got to see it though. It sounds like the kind of bad that is interesting.
It's definitely the kind of terrible movie that is also kind of fascinating, because it's the kind of terrible movie that can only come from like really high ambition and a very intense personal vision that is completely whiffed.
That's a little interesting. I mean, we've been talking about Terry Gilliam on this podcast lately, and the back half of that catalog has a lot of those in it. Yeah. So I'm a little open to that. A little interested in that. It
was tough for me to sit through a lot of this. I know everybody loves Jesse Buckley right now. This performance was like nails on a chalkboard to me. Now, some of that I think is direction. A lot of that I think is writing, because there's a particular, I don't know if you'd want to call it a character quirk or a conceit, which I'm just going to talk about it because it happens. It's the first scene of the movie. So
the Mary Shelley thing, right?
Yeah. The character is possessed periodically by the ghost of Mary Shelley. And it's a Mary Shelley who is a demented, deranged, very shrill 19th century English woman.
That sounds okay to me, man. I'm interested in that.
It's not. It's because it doesn't make sense on a number of levels. I mean, number one, the bride character doesn't even really exist in Mary Shelley's work. I mean, the bride is alluded to, the bride is planned to be created, but it never gets to that point.
Yeah.
So why is Mary Shelley in this movie? Like this, did you ever see
post-feminist text, right?
But whatever. Did you ever see Frankenstein Unbound, the Roger Corman movie with John Hurt and Raul Julia?
No, it sounds like I should, though. Jeez.
1990, I think it's Roger Corman's last film as a director.
Mm-hmm.
Some cool ideas. So, and this will tie into The Bride, I promise. But, so John Hurt is a scientist in the future.
Yeah.
Who goes back in time.
Oh, my.
To Switzerland in the early to like 1818 or something. Meets Victor Frankenstein, who is Raul Julia, as he is creating his monster. But also, like, just across the lake is Mary Shelley and Byron. And so the conceit of the movie is Mary Shelley knew Victor Frankenstein and basically adapted what Victor Frankenstein was really doing into her own story.
Huh.
Now,
that sounds worth watching. That sounds interesting.
I mean, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Roger Corman movie from 1990. So kind of low budget, but I think they really shot in Switzerland. There's some cool location stuff. Good cast. Bridget Fonda is Mary Shelley.
Wow.
There's a couple other people. And the Frankenstein monster is actually kind of a cool design.
Frankenstein Unbound. I got to see this. Maybe I should watch, maybe I should do a movie.
Double feature of these?
and maybe throw in Ken Russell's Gothic.
Or Haunted Summer, which is the other one everyone forgets, which is the same story that came out the same year as Gothic.
Interesting. Okay. Well, hey, that sounds like a fun time. I haven't seen any of them, so.
Frankenstein Unbound, like, does the legwork. Like, that's the entire conceit of the movie. That, like, Mary Shelley and Victor Frankenstein were real people in the same place at the same time. The Bride does not do any kind of legwork to, like, why is the real author of this story possessing a character in the fictionalized version of your story that is not even really related to your story at all, because obviously Frankenstein did not take place in Prohibition era America.
Yeah, okay. I mean, look,
it is a completely bizarre idea, and I think it absolutely torpedoes the movie, because what it forces Buckley to do as a performer is a lot of kind of histrionic nonsense. Like literally interrupting lines of dialogue where she is the bride character and then Mary Shelley comes bursting forth out of her mouth. And then she goes back to being it is, I can say this about the movie. It is absolutely a very, very ambitious swing, but it is a complete miss.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I'll get to that one. It sounds like it's not at the top of anyone's list, though. And that's certainly, like, the responses to this film were not, like, yours is very typical. Like, this is what people were saying. It's, I haven't seen anyone be like, actually, it's great. No one has.
No, there were some think pieces where it was like, the hidden meanings of The Bride.
I'm sure there are hidden meanings. It doesn't mean it was successful.
Well, and I'll also say this. Christian Bale is very good. Christian Bale,
that performance I want to see.
He could have been in a straight Frankenstein adaptation. I think would have been a very good creature based on this performance.
Interesting. Like, and you wouldn't think it. That's not casting that made initial sense to me, but I do want to see it.
Well, good luck to you.
Yeah. It hasn't happened yet. All right. February also had Scream 7. I thought this was bad.
I liked it. I think this is the best one since Scream 2.
No, well, I mean, I wouldn't say that because I did not like it, but I mean, the bar is low after Scream 2, in my opinion. I don't know what I'd pick for that. Maybe 5. But I think they're out of steam completely on these, man. I think there's some good moments in this. I like Matthew Lillard's participation in it.
I thought how they did that was clever without doing the really stupid thing of having Stu still somehow be alive.
I would have preferred it to what they did.
No.
I would have been happier with that than what they landed on. I hate
bringing back characters who are clearly dead. And it's like, he's clearly dead. And the idea that he wouldn't have been dead and nobody would have known about it for the last 5 movies is insane. So, like,
you're not wrong, but man,
Stu had to be dead. I liked how they used him. I thought that was a fun kind of wink at the audience who wanted Lillard to come back in some fashion, and they found a way to do it. I will grant that this is the second worst killer reveal and motivation of the franchise. I still think three is so terrible because I think it damages the first movie in a pretty significant way.
I'll take your point there. I would say that's accurate, but on the other hand, 3 is, I think, no, I have nothing good to say about Scream 3.
3's too slick. It feels too sanitized. I like Lance Henriksen as sort of like a Roger Corman, Charles Band type.
Parker Posey and Patrick Warburton are fun in it.
They are.
How about that?
But I think they're in a different movie.
Yeah, much more overtly.
They're in a goofier movie.
Yeah, and that makes the movie feel stupider. It does.
Yeah.
But they're fun to watch at least.
They
There's
are.
No one really fun to watch except Matthew Lillard in this new Scream.
I mean, fun to watch. Yeah, I liked the Sydney and her daughter stuff. I thought that actually worked pretty well because I think there's a thing there about Sydney not sort of trusting her daughter with telling her sort of her entire backstory, but because she's unwilling to do that, her daughter doesn't really fully understand everything Sydney's been through, and then therefore is kind of vulnerable to the same kinds of things that Sydney was. I like that idea, and I think the literal scenes they share together are written fairly well. I liked some of the kills. I liked that sort of. I liked that Argento one on the stage rehearsing the play where there's a disembowelment that felt very kind of Dario Argento to me. I like that.
That's the best one in the movie.
I like the one with the beer tap, even though I'm not quite sure how the logistics of that one really work for the gag to happen at the end. But it ends up being an homage to My Bloody Valentine, which I like. But yeah, the kill reveal is terrible. The motivation is I couldn't even really explain it to you right now if you forced me to.
Awful. Yeah.
But I like the way the movie looks. I think it kind of hits that Woodsboro atmosphere of the first movie way more than 4 or 5 did, which are also set in Woodsboro. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I had a good time with it.
Well, I mean, look, I'm kind of down on that franchise in general. It's not my favorite. I think 1 is excellent, 2 is really good, and then I kind of just don't like any of them. So
rest after that are all flawed to some degree or another.
Yeah, I'm just not the biggest partisan of that specific franchise, and so I understand if people have more fun with Scream 7 than I did. Let's see here. Okay, we'll keep moving. March, because there's a lot, man. We're in an hour. There's a lot. March had something called The Dreadful, which I have not seen, but I really want to because it's a remake of Onibaba, which is one of my favorite Japanese horror films from the 60s.
Who's in this? I feel like I've heard about this, and then you're going to say who's in. Is this Kit Harington?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Sophie Turner.
Sophie Turner. Okay.
Yeah. And Marcia Gay Harden as the mother, which is weird.
Where's she been, by the way?
I don't know.
Feels like we haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, well, she's playing the mom in the Onibaba remake, and
okay,
it's set in medieval Europe instead. You have to make that change, of course, if you're going to star Sophie Turner and Kit Harington.
You probably wouldn't want to put them in feudal Japan, no.
But that is what makes it interesting to me, is that transplant of locale. That is intriguing, because I think there's no chance of catching Onibaba, and by all accounts, this movie does not. Right. Simply because the rice fields that movie takes place in are so evocative.
The visual atmosphere is incredible.
Yeah, and the mask too seems like that's going to be hard to replicate in medieval Europe too. But so I got to see it. Yeah, neither of us have seen it though. So moving on. Have you seen Dolly?
No. What is this?
Oh, it's a Killer Dolly movie.
Okay.
Or it's somebody dressed as a doll. Like I hear it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre ish. Kind of. Okay, you know what? We can move on from the one we've seen. Undertone, I saw. I didn't care for it.
I liked it. I thought this one is, it's definitely a slow burn. Now, I will say I saw it at home. I didn't see it in the theater, so I was watching it with headphones on. I think that's probably the best way to do it because I think the soundscape is so particular to a headphone kind of experience. So it really worked well for me on that level, and I thought it sort of, yes, it's a slow burn, but I thought they did turn the juice up towards the end in a way that I found pretty sinister.
That is interesting. I saw it in theaters, and I think I would have preferred to have watched it at home with headphones on. Now that you bring that up, that sounds good, actually, because the sell of this movie is that it is sort of sonic horror.
Yes.
It is about the sound mix. It is about how they make that scary. There are no visually scary things, per se, in this movie. It's all about what you hear. And that's a neat conceit and a neat thing to try them to figure out. It didn't work for me. I didn't think that the story was anything. I was like, I've seen a lot of elder care horror recently, and that this just feels like a lesser version of a lot of other recent movies.
It's more, everyone's dealing with trauma type stuff, which, I know we do have to eventually find some way to break through that in horror. I think we need horror movies that are not so explicitly about the intense personal baggage of a traumatic event in your life. But it's an easy way to create a character backstory. I get that. But yeah, watching Undertone at home, the soundscape in my headphones anyway was very active. The closeness of certain things versus stuff that is more distant. The way things are moving through the sound space, I thought was pretty impressive. So,
All right. Well, yeah, I think that if you were to watch the movie, that would be the way to do it. Other than that, though, I don't know. So the other big March releases were two movies that are almost the same movie. It's very interesting. I only saw the one of them. I saw They Will Kill You, and the other film was Ready or Not 2, Here I Come.
I skipped both.
Okay. Well, we want to talk about Ready or Not 2 then. I wasn't a big fan of the first one, so I skipped that one, and I knew I'd be seeing this other one anyway. Which is a movie about Zazie Beetz, murdering her way through a New York high-rise full of Satan worshipers trying to rescue her sister, something like that. The Satan worshipers are immortal, so once they're cut apart, they kind of grow back together and can continue to chase her. It's sort of like a lot of movies, actually. It has a lot in common with The Raid or Kill Bill or I don't know, any kind of Satan-y movie that's been made lately, and indeed all the Eat the Rich kind of horror films of late. I think it's kind of well executed for what it is, but it is so familiar. It is just so many things that we've seen in so many movies, leaving aside the other movie that was released a week earlier that has the same basic premise. And, I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's a lot left in this particular subgenre to mine, unless somebody wants to reinvent it dramatically, which, hasn't really happened in some time.
Yeah, I could kind of tell, looking at the trailer, I've seen this movie a few times already, and I think I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's about it. So we can move on from those. Let's see. April, what do we got here? Lee Cronin's The Mummy, of course.
I liked it.
I was okay with it. It's mean. It's a gross movie.
It's very gross. I wrote a review on Letterboxd, and I paraphrased Roger Ebert talking about The Thing, which he called the barf bag movie of 1982, and I called this the barf bag movie of the springtime, because there's bodily functions and fluids and pus and skin and all kinds of blood getting into things that people are eating. But it had enough of a cheeky sensibility to it that I found that stuff very entertaining in a very kind of juvenile way.
It is definitely doing Evil Dead stuff. Lee Cronin, despite having his name on the title, really the only other thing anyone knows him from is it's Evil Dead Rise from a couple years back, I believe. Yep.
And the movie he did before that, which is Hole in the Ground, which is more of a folk horror type, completely different from either of these two movies.
Yeah, I think that one's really good, actually.
Yeah.
It's lynchy. Yeah, that's a fun one. But yeah, this one I was kind of fine with. The premise of it's a small child as the mummy is unpleasant and disturbing and kind of changes how you accept the movie. I have a 4-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
So, it becomes a little bit more aggressive of a film when it's doing Pet Sematary shit. And then also like body horror with that small child. It's sort of like, this is unpleasant. This is definitely an experience to watch this movie right now. I don't know that would, extend to non-parents necessarily. It doesn't feel like it's that deep of a film or profound in any specific way, but it's certainly. This might be the most stomach churning and unpleasant I've felt during a horror film this year. I think that's probably true.
Yeah, and I give the movie credit. There were people who were complaining about, well, this isn't really a mummy movie. This is barely a mummy movie. And it's like, well, how many mummy movies have we gotten? Like, I'm okay with trying something a little different under the umbrella of a quote unquote mummy movie.
Yeah, this was mummy enough for me.
Yeah.
I did not feel that I had not seen a mummy film afterwards.
Well, a lot of people apparently did feel they hadn't really seen a mummy movie. So
I expected bandages. Well, there are some. There's
bandages.
They
are. And they've got like secret writing on them and stuff. See, there's cool touches in here. I like
pretty mummy-ish. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, so that one I think is, for fans, for horror movie people, that's okay enough. I'd go for that. Exit 8 came out in April. Did you see this one?
Didn't, but it's on my list to get to sooner than later.
It's pretty good, man. I would recommend Exit 8. It is a good video game movie. Probably one of the best. And it is such a simple premise that it can't help but kind of just execute its one idea and get out in like 80 minutes, and it works. And basically it's very backrooms, as a matter of fact. It is somebody stuck in a sort of an abandoned subway terminal that just keeps looping and repeating itself. So, you walk, you take like 4 left turns and it's a square or something like that. And you are basically back where you started. And there's rules posted on the wall. Like, if you see something different, turn around. And that's all you get, basically. And so there's like people, they'll just walk by you. You can't talk to them. And it's weird stuff. It is very minimalist. But I wouldn't say it's slow paced. It is a cool Japanese horror film and a very, very effective. It's kind of like, I don't know. Have you played many horror video games?
Not really.
Well, this is as good a version of that as a movie as I can imagine. So I recommend it just for the sense of that and the feel of that. And it is so painless. It is just, it goes down real fast. And it's a nice little mind fuck. If you enjoyed the back rooms, I would give this a strong recommend. Okay. I guess that gets us to May, which is when Obsession pops off, right?
Hold on. Yeah. Well, I wanted to mention Faces of Death.
Oh, right. Of course. I didn't see Faces of Death.
So they did something I thought that was pretty clever with Faces of Death, which is they found a way to incorporate, because for anyone who doesn't know, the original Faces of Death series was just like a video compendium of like graphic deaths and dismemberments and stuff, most of which were staged, but they told you they weren't. Yeah. Right. The sort of the secret and illicit cachet of those videos was maybe they're real. Like these could be realistic. Maybe these really happen. Most of them were staged, but
they're absurd. Like I remember this from when I was young. It's like a guy in a parachute ends up in an alligator pit or something like that. It's goofy shit.
So what they did with this movie is there is a serial killer who is obsessed with those videos and recreates scenes from the Faces of Death videos in real life with his victims.
Okay, well,
and he is played by, I don't know if it's pronounced Dacre or Docker Montgomery, who was in Stranger Things.
Oh, sure.
He is very good. It's a very good deranged serial killer performance. So I was quite surprised that, like, I thought this was okay. Like, I thought there's no universe where a Faces of Death movie as a narrative should have worked, because it never even worked really as just a fake documentary compendium.
Right.
But it kind of works.
Well, I certainly mean to check this out, because people did say it was solid enough and an interesting thing to do with this. So it kind of just was so quickly out of theaters.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's streaming yet, that I didn't have the opportunity at the time, but I mean to get to it. Absolutely. So yeah, that's our hope. Sounds good though. Charlie XCX is in this?
Very briefly.
Okay.
Like it's almost kind of a, I don't know if I'd even say it's stunt casting, because the role isn't even that.
Oh.
I think she's in like 2 scenes, and it's not. It's an insignificant part of the movie, basically.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, that's no big deal. All right. So let's see. What else we got here? May has, well, Obsession and Backrooms, of course.
Hokum.
But Hokum. And Hokum is probably my favorite horror film released in May.
It's pretty good.
I'm sad this disappeared so quick. That this just got its lunch eaten by these big YouTubers, horror movies. I don't think, even if they hadn't been released, though, that people would have found this. It was very quickly in and out. And this is Adam Scott, and as sort of an asshole writer, going to a haunted hotel in Ireland and having an experience with with sort of a murder mystery and a ghost and a witch, and it's just an old school kind of spooky hotel movie, and it is so much fun. I just love this one. This was such a good time, and Adam Scott is great in it. I had hoped that
very good
him starring in the film might get more eyes on it because of Severance, because it's from what's the guy's name? Something McCarthy.
Damien McCarthy.
Damien McCarthy. Excellent new horror voice. He made Oddity from a few years ago. One of the best recent.
That's my favorite of his so far.
Yeah, me too. It's really great if you haven't seen that. And this is very much in the style of that, and of a similar type of film. I'd hope more eyes would get on it. Didn't happen. It's still really cool though, and I think will be a neat movie to kind of revisit at home, and maybe a Halloween perennial, because this is just a kind of horror movie comfort food that I enjoy a lot. This one I could come back to a lot. It's just a lot of spooky ghost shit.
Yeah.
A lot of atmosphere and just set pieces, kind of understated horror movie set pieces.
And I think what I really like about what McCarthy's kind of been doing now, and this is certainly the case in Hokum, it feels like he's trying to make contemporary versions of like 50s, 60s, 70s British/Irish folk horror, supernatural horror, like just kind of classic, what you would call chillers.
Yes.
And I think he's doing that really well, where they still function as modern films, but there's some kind of a personality and an energy to them that is throwback in a really appealing way. It's appealing to me anyway.
There's an old school sensibility to him that doesn't necessarily extend to the filmmaking, which I think is, well, I mean, I don't know. It's certainly not modern in the way you would call Obsession or Backrooms modern. No, it is throwback.
It's contemporary. It doesn't. He's not. It's not pastiche. He's not trying to. He's not trying to make an early 1970s Amicus film, but he's evoking the feeling that Amicus and Hammer and those kind of movies could give you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. A consistent thing in his movies has been that the actual evil tends to be humans.
Yes.
Like there might be monsters, there are monsters or witches or ghosts or something like that, some folklorish horror aspect. But the real baddie is a person.
The primary threat is human and mortal.
Yes. And that allows him to do some really fun Tales from the Crypt stuff as well. Mm-hmm. Like these movies have Tales from the Crypt protagonists for the most part. Or even if not the protagonist, there's characters that fill that role. Adam Scott in this, playing like an asshole. He is
really unlikable.
Yeah. So you don't think he's going to make it through necessarily, but you end up liking him as the movie goes on. You end up kind of siding with him. It is a great way to handle a horror movie protagonist.
Well, and I'm not going to spoil this, but there's something that happens with him. I don't know if it's 20 or so minutes in the movie where you realize, there's actually some real pain behind this asshole facade. He's still an asshole for the rest of the movie, basically. But you understand this is a human being who's gone through something really bad in his life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and this is the benefit of casting Adam Scott, I think, is he is a guy who can be asshole very well, but is also innately likable.
Yeah.
It's a very well kind of defined and written character. Look, this also just has some exceptional ghostly little set pieces with like dumb waiters and curtained beds and shit. It's
every time we ended up in that dumb waiter, it was like, oh, something good's gonna happen here. A proper horror film here. This is a good one, man.
This is one of those exceptional ones of the year. So yeah, that's kind of my big ones, I guess. Let's see. I saw Passenger as well this year.
Haven't seen that yet.
It's okay. Some funny ideas. I don't think it really works, but it has a neat idea, which is it is about, it's an Andre Overdahl film who's made movies I liked, movies I didn't. Okay, horror movie guy for me. And this is kind of in the middle. It is about people who have decided van life or something like this. It's some sort of trending thing.
Yeah.
People who take to the road, no longer have a permanent address, live that nomad land lifestyle, and have sort of complex feelings about how that's working out as a newly married couple, or not newly married, newly engaged couple. So that is cool, and that is kind of a character state and a place for a horror movie to start that is new, that is fresh, that I had not seen before. And then they're haunted by, a ghostly guy who wants to kill him, and he's not that interesting, unfortunately. They try. There's some stuff. He is the dark side, the dark reflection of Saint Christopher, the saint of travel.
Okay. At least that's something.
It's something. And there's some sequences that are good. There's some really neat scenes. I would recommend it to you, Brett. I would say that you should see this movie.
I will absolutely see it.
With expectations in check. But generally, I would say there's a lot more interesting movies that have come out this year in this genre, and, start with Hokum and Bone Temple and shit for most people, and Send Help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that's mostly it. Is there anything I've left off here that we need to at least touch on?
The only one, we don't need to touch on it, but I'll mention it because I didn't think it was very good, was a movie called The Yeti.
I was curious about this one. I didn't see this.
So this is kind of, in terms of its visual appearance, is meant to be like a pastiche style 1950s monster movie.
Yeah.
With very kind of broadly drawn stock type characters that are intentionally a little silly. It's hitting very much 1950s horror sci-fi vibes. The problem is...
Sounds good.
That does sound good. The problem is the actual story that then unfolds, and then the explanation of what's going on, and then subsequently the characters kind of become different people than sort of the more tropey character types you thought they were at the beginning. It becomes kind of oddly modern in a way that clashes with the artifice of the approach of the visual construction of the movie. So I just did not think it worked at all. There are a couple neat moments, especially early on, involving the Yeti, where you don't really see it, but you kind of see it, and there's some cool stuff there. But once it gets into explaining what's happened and what's going on and the motivations of various characters, it gets pretty bad.
Conceptually, a conceptual failure
it's a great
is always
idea.
more interesting to me, though. Like stuff that makes bizarre mistakes, and that's what it sounds a little bit like, at least.
It's just an awkward sort of mismarriage of the way the movie looks and then the way the movie unfolds at the script level. It just
You've whet my appetite, Brett. I'm afraid you've made this more interesting to me.
Go with God, but it's. I would not recommend anyone watch it.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe I won't get to the Yeti. I have some other stuff I want to do first here, but fair enough. Okay, so that's that's already this is a big horror movie year. Like, we're horror movie guys. This is exciting. This is like we're having a moment here, really, in the genre, and not just because two big movies came out, but because there's some really good, creative, unique, new stuff that is out there.
Yeah,
and a lot of other things as well. But there's enough big ones, enough cool ones that it feels like a really good year for horror in general. And there's more to come. There's some big stuff out for the second half of the year.
Yeah, I'm looking at my calendar right now, and there's definitely some. I don't want to prejudge, and I don't want to get my hopes up. Potentially, what I hope might end up being my favorite movie of the year is yet to come. So.
Which one is that? Is it Werewolf? Because
yes.
That's the one I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm psyched for Werewolf. Really
close
psyched.
out the year on Christmas time with Robert Eggers once again taking us to some period piece horror land. I can't wait for this.
No kidding. Me too, man. He's one of my favorites right now. One of the most exciting new voices in horror, without question. And man, he's doing a cool thing. His particular vibe and approach to this stuff. The folklore drenched, just sort of like intense art house, but like that's not really. I don't know if that's the thing to call it. Really, it is pretty arty, but it doesn't feel like that. These are not slow burn films generally.
Other than The Lighthouse, I think The Lighthouse is his most unapproachable to like a mainstream audience. But I think his other films, I think, are to horror fans. Like if you're a person who's inclined to enjoy horror, I think they're very approachable. And I think Nosferatu is his most mainstream effort to date.
One of the most exciting box office successes for me was seeing people embrace Nosferatu. I was like, yes, that's awesome. Because we were worried. I was worried because The Northman kind of bombed.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still, a little bit post-COVID hangover, and it was not probably released at a really great time. I didn't think the promotional campaign was that great for it. Yes. But because they sold it as an action movie, and they should have sold it as a more period thriller with kind of some action moments in it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I can't wait to see what he does with, lycanthropy. I mean, and he's said himself, like, his objective for this was, this is going to be his darkest, most intense, most frightening movie. So pairing that with like werewolves, I'm all the way in on this.
Werewolves are tough, man. There's a lot of werewolf movies, not a lot of great werewolf movies.
Yeah, I mean,
and if anyone can do it, I'm pretty sure this is the guy I'd like to see try.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. What else is there?
Evil Dead. Also
Evil
coming
Dead
soon.
Burn is coming out in a few weeks. I'm really excited for Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma.
I've heard
Schoenbrunn.
Very interesting things about this.
Yeah, I'm all about that. That's very much my vibe.
And sounds very like taking Scream level meta commentary to the next level, where there's like a long-running slasher film series that they're now making a reboot. Like it,
yeah.
I get, and it sounds like the movie has pulled it off. But that sounds like the kind of premise that could really sort of go down the toilet pretty fast.
I love shit like that. When it's hard to do
if it's done well. If you do it well, it can be really clever and fun. They've
said also that that Gillian Anderson is like one of the major characters of the film, and it's sort of a Norma Desmond version of a Final Girl. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. That sounds good, man. That sounds like exactly what I'd like. So very excited for that one. What else we got? We got
Resident Evil.
The news. Yeah. Zach Kreger.
Kreger's back 1 year later.
Yeah. And people seem upset about this because it's not actually. I don't give a shit. I think it looks great.
I've never played the games. I've seen a few of the Paul W.S. Anderson movies.
Yes.
Yeah, the bad movies. Although I remember I do have one of my fun high school experiences was seeing the first one. Like on a weekday school night, I dragged some friends with me to see it, and they did not care for it. So, I'm hoping this is going to be much better, and I'm sure it will be much better. Just I thought the trailer looked great. Kreger he's emerged almost out of nowhere in the last, 4 years since Barbarian. It's really impressive how confident he immediately seems with basically any level of scale. Because this seems like a big movie. Like he's in deserted, city streets, and it looks great to me. I mean, I know that some of the game fans are disappointed in whatever they're seeing here that does not reflect the game, but I really don't care. It looks good to me.
Same. I mean, this guy's on a hot streak, like this is his big swing at a hit film. It would sound like, something that will be crossover. And that is interesting. Like if his instincts are, and it seems like they would be, because Barbarian and Weapons are both like really audience forward movies. Those are good to see with a group of people. They know how to play an audience. And that is another thing he has in common with Jordan Peele, who, is he got a movie coming out?
I think it's been perpetually delayed. I think originally it was supposed to be coming out around Christmas time, but I don't believe it's on the schedule anymore.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what it is, who's in it. So
I don't think it's been
not this year.
It's not in production yet. So
okay, yeah. Well, damn. I'd like to see that too. But we have enough exciting new people like Eggers and Kreger with new movies coming out. There's the Clayface thing is coming. That'll be interesting.
Could be interesting. Written by Flanagan.
Superhero.
So
Yep, that's cool. I don't know what else. I mean, well, that's the thing about this genre is there's going to be horror movies out in 2 months that we've never heard of before.
Right.
You know, it's very exciting, and they might be great. There might be some exceptional ones that come out that we just haven't heard of yet.
Not a movie, but we've got the Crystal Lake TV show coming in October.
That's fun. Yeah. TV wise, have you seen Widow's Bay? That's good.
No, but I've heard it's great.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's mostly a comedy, but it has all the atmosphere of a horror movie, so it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah, you would enjoy. That one's a good time. I don't know. What else is there? There's nothing else, man. I think we got it covered. I am excited about an adaptation of A Head Full of Ghosts, one of the best horror novels I've read in a recent memory. Rebecca Hall, David Harbour, good casting. Yeah. That should be interesting. But, you know, again, it's going to be stuff we don't know about as well, on top of all these ones we're already excited for. So, I mean, I think it's already early enough, even if these things disappoint, to call 2026 an exceptional horror movie year. And
I think
it can only get better, really.
Yeah. I think, and this is maybe overstating it a little bit, and let's give it a couple years, but before we really look back. But like this year kind of reminds me of 1999, which was not like an overall like amazing horror movie year, but that was the year within 2 months you had the Blair Witch Project and you had The Sixth Sense, and I think those are pivotal, very important films that sort of kickstarted the next 10 years of where certain aspects and avenues of the genre went. And I think we may potentially see some of that as a result of what we've gotten in the first half of this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think Obsession already has filled the Blair Witch Project size hole. Maybe Resident Evil's well, it's probably not going to be a Best Picture nominee.
I mean, that'd be something, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Weapons almost was.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows what could happen this year? Or maybe it'll be Werewolf. It is a year with enormous potential, and it already has delivered on a lot of it. And it's just an exciting time to be a horror movie fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me on this, Brett. I'm so glad I got to do this with somebody.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, maybe we'll pick it back up at the end of the year. See how these things landed.
Well, I think at the very least, I would love to be back to talk about Werewolf.
Well, we're gonna do that one. Even Schwartz, horror Luddite that he is on the Eggers boat at this point. So yeah, please, you're invited right now, officially.
Well, thank you.
All right, thanks for joining, and thank you for listening. All right, take care. I don't know what's next. We're recording these out of order, so something will happen next week too. All right, thanks again.